A boss who tells you to think for yourself and then punishes you for it is not a boss. She is a prison guard. The humid air of Etheria always felt heavy, but within the confines of Summit Solutions, a different kind of oppression reigned. For 22-year-old Alex Hayes, fresh out of college and brimming with ambition, his administrative role was merely a temporary stop, a stepping stone to grander aspirations. The firm's owner, Eleanor Vance, a woman in her late 50s, exuded the air of a self-proclaimed visionary, perpetually burdened by the perceived intellectual inferiority of those around her. Her boutique firm connected corporate clients with elite freelancers, and Alex's task was to be her humble administrative anchor. From their initial encounter, Eleanor had painted a dazzling future for Alex. An assistant today, a specialist tomorrow, with a tenfold increase in pay within a year. It seemed like a golden ticket, a direct path to success. Yet, the price of this golden ticket was daily immersion in Eleanor's self-aggrandizing monologues. She would routinely corner Alex, her captive audience, to deliver rambling lectures on the virtues of critical thinking, often declaring, "I am paying you to use your brain, Alex, to anticipate problems before they happen, not just to push paper." The unspoken message, however, was deafeningly clear. Her intellect was unparalleled, while his was a slow, laborious work in progress. One crisp autumn morning, a colossal research project landed on Alex's desk from Omnicorp, Summit Solutions' most significant client. The deadline was unforgiving, Monday at noon. With no specialists available, Eleanor, with a dramatic flourish of self-sacrifice, personally took charge. The weekend passed uneventfully, but Alex's serene Monday morning was shattered by the insistent ring of the office phone. It was Omnicorp, checking on their time-sensitive report. The deadline loomed menacingly. Alex attempted Eleanor's mobile. No answer. After a tense half hour, he tried again, followed by a text. Silence. As the clock crept towards 11, Alex, heart-pounding, dialed Eleanor's personal landline, a number she reserved strictly for emergencies. A groggy voice answered, Eleanor's husband. Alex briefly explained the Omnicorp predicament. He hung up, a cocktail of relief and dread swirling within him. 10 minutes later, his mobile shrieked. It was Eleanor, her voice a low, furious hiss. "What in the world is wrong with you?" she seethed. "My husband just woke me up, panicked, saying there's some kind of emergency." "Alex, you called my home number. That's for emergencies. You created an unnecessary state of stress in my own home." Alex stammered an explanation about the client's call. "This is not an emergency," she snapped. "It is not professional to hound people on their personal time. Do you understand?" She then declared the report finished and dispatched to Omnicorp. "I get everything under control. I never miss a deadline. This is my business, my clients. You just tell them I'm on it, and you don't contact me again." When she finally swept into the office, she was a whirlwind of theatrical indignation. Slamming her briefcase, she fixed Alex with a hard stare. "Let me be perfectly clear," she said, her voice drip with condescension. "When a task is assigned to me, it is my task. Your job is done. I do not need reminders. I do not need you to stress my husband out. You are not to bother me, ever. You just tell the client I'm on it and hang up. Got it?" Alex nodded, calmly repeating her instructions. A self-satisfied smile stretched across Eleanor's face. She launched into another lengthy, patronizing lecture about using one's brain. Alex nodded along, a silent, subversive promise forming in his mind. The glittering promise of a promotion felt increasingly like a hollow deception. A month later, a new assignment arrived from Viridian Partners, another critical project. Eleanor, once again available, took it on. Alex, meticulously adhering to her recent explicit instructions, sent her the order and considered his task complete. The next day, he was on vacation, hiking a remote trail in the serene Cascade Mountains, his phone signal delightfully intermittent. Later that afternoon, a single bar appeared, and his phone buzzed. It was Sarah, the other office assistant, her voice laced with panic. "The Viridian Partners client just called," she gasped. "They're looking for their project. They said it was due today." Alex's mind, refreshed by the mountain air, calmly processed the information. "It's fine," he stated, his voice even. "Eleanor is on it. Just tell them that she has it personally and everything is under control." "But they sounded worried," Sarah stammered. "Just follow the instructions," Alex patiently replied. "Eleanor told us to tell the client she's on it and explicitly not to call her." He then added, quoting her verbatim, "An approaching deadline for Eleanor is not an emergency." Politely but firmly, he told Sarah he needed to conserve his battery and promptly powered off his phone. The ensuing silence was profound and utterly blissful. Back in Etheria, the situation was anything but blissful. Eleanor, distracted by a personal appointment, had completely forgotten the Viridian Partners project. She remembered an hour after the office closed. The deadline irrevocably passed. She frantically completed the work, but her triumph was fleeting. In her haste, she realized the client's contact details weren't on her laptop. All the information was in the physical file, locked inside the office. There was no choice but to race back to Summit Solutions, her car screeching through the empty streets. Her hands shaking, she fumbled with the keys, finally unlocking the door. Inside, she snatched the file, found the contact information on the Viridian Partners letterhead, and finally sent the embarrassingly late work to a very unhappy client. When Alex returned to work, the office was a maelstrom. Eleanor stood by his desk, her face a mask of furious indignation. The moment he appeared, she unleashed a torrent of accusations. "Why didn't you call me? Why did you turn off your phone?" she shrieked. "Why did you let this happen?" Alex met her gaze, his expression placid. "You told me not to call you," he said, his voice level. "You said to tell the client you were on it, and that's what I told Sarah to do. You also said an approaching deadline was not an emergency, and I was on vacation. I wasn't on call." Eleanor's face turned crimson. His words were a perfect, irrefutable echo of her own instructions, ensnaring her in a web of her own making. "But you didn't give me the client's details with the order," she cried, a desperate final attempt to shift blame. "It's your fault I couldn't deliver." A small, genuine smile touched Alex's lips. He gestured to the file on his desk, then looked back at her. "You said you knew all the clients personally, Eleanor, but even if you didn't, the client's contact details were on every single page of the order instructions, printed at the top and the bottom, just like always." The silence that followed was more deafening than her screams. He had wielded her own use-your-brain logic against her, a direct, devastating blow to her fragile ego. Her face, a moment ago contorted with rage, crumpled into a look of absolute wounded disbelief. The inevitable words followed. "You're fired," she spat. Alex didn't flinch. He simply nodded, calmly gathered his meager belongings, and walked out. The humid Etheria air outside suddenly felt light, free. The oppressive weight of her condescension and the phantom promise of a career had vanished. He didn't mind being fired at all. It was the most satisfying promotion he had ever received.